The ticket market hasn't changed since Alex Eala had Indian Wells revise its crowd control strategy. Recovered ever since Alex Eala was left out of the draw for the BNP Paribas, which will open at Indian Wells. Indian Wells was added by Alex Eala too. The world is now watching the tour stop.
Support in Indian Wells. Look at this. I mean, this was in Australia. Court 6 literally had a line. I know I'm exaggerating, but it went for miles at the Aussie. It was wild scenes there. Allie, can you remember a women's star who gets this type of support wherever she goes?
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift? I mean...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
The Indian Wells tournament organizers made an announcement on March 4, 2026, that no WTA 1000 event had ever made. For a 31st ranked player worldwide, officially, their practice courts were being overtaken by the Eala effect. The fans weren't anticipating the game. California, the state with the highest Filipino population, is home to Filipino communities. Population in the US, which is thought to be close to 2 million, were already packing each of these practice sessions prior to a single ball being hit during a match, not the semifinals, not the finals. Practice sessions, and in between those crowded courts and the reports on the secondary ticket market that are being submitted by Pro Tennis Stories 360 and other analysts identified a huge ticket frenzy, demand spikes that surpassed. One question became unavoidable, as was to be expected with early round matchups: how did one Filipino player make the greatest North American swing of the WTA a sold-out event before the bracket had opened? The response will begin on March 26, 2025. At the 2025 Miami Open, Alex Eala entered the court as a wild card, which is ranked 140th in the world. Who was her opponent? I am the most dominant player in women's sports, ranked second in the world. Tennis at the time. What came next was a methodical teardown rather than an upset in the conventional sense. Ayala's left-handed serve, which reached speeds of about 90 miles per hour on the first try and 75 on the second, pushed Swiatek to 32 unintentional mistakes. Eala only earned 12. Eala converted 8 out of 10 breakpoints. That amounts to 80%. 6-2 and 7-5 was the final score. Additionally, the total prize money for that particular tournament was $332,160. It almost doubled all of Eala's earnings from her previous career. Her rating increased by 65 places in a week between 140 and 75. Entry to the Grand Slam main draw is unlocked, conversations with sponsors increased, and the commercial infrastructure of the WTA began recalculating.
I'd have to say maybe a little bit of Sonia Mirza. Back in her heyday, obviously the Indian fans took to her and they followed her all around the globe, obviously not to this extent. And I think the ceiling that Alex Eala has is obviously that much higher. And I'm gonna bring in a little boxing here because my dad wanted me to be a boxer, but I chose tennis. But Manny Pacquiao.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game, and alongside Roger Federer, he actually had more prize money. So I think that if Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court. I mean, she could be rolling in it, if you will.
However, the outcome of Dubai's ticket markets almost a year later cannot be explained by that victory alone. To comprehend that, you must comprehend what experts now refer to as the portable home court advantage. The majority of top athletes only have one residence city. 1 crowd at home. Alex Eala employs about 1 million Filipinos abroad in Dubai and about 2 million Filipinos in California. In any city where there is a significant Filipino diaspora, she brings the equivalent of a home audience. That also happens to be nearly every stop on the schedule for the WTA's 2026 Middle East and North American swings. The impact was quantifiable in hard dollars at the 2026 Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. The starting price for official tickets was 65 dirhams, or around $17.70. That was the point of ingress. Next, on February 17, Eala overcame Jasmine Paolini, the current Dubai champion and world number 8, 6-1, 7-6, after falling behind 5-6. In the tiebreak of the second set, the atmosphere in that stadium is described by a number of players and specialists as distinct from anything observed at the 1000 event, and the secondary market reacted. Significant resale reports. Premiums for Ayala's quarterfinal sessions quickly became apparent. The face value of 65 dirhams had become a beginning rather than a ceiling for many individuals in that industry. At that point, the participants themselves began verifying the information that was already displayed.
She's got a smile that lights up a room, too, you know. And I remember last year when she beat Iga Swiatek, and she kind of did it with a lot of grace and humility, you know. And it was really, for me, it was terrific to see her take that match and watch her play after that and watch her try to continue to progress, because I like her game. You know, obviously, she wants to get better than where she is now, than 32 in the world, but she's got a lot of good hand-eye coordination and ability to take the ball early and redirect. But the fan stuff is always fun for me, because whenever you see players from smaller countries, the fans are so passionate when they get up to the top.
It's interesting, Ali mentioned Sonia Mirza. She has nearly 13 million followers on Instagram. That's 5 million more than Carlos Alcaraz, and nearly as many as Alcaraz and Sabalenka combined. So that's how big Sonia Mirza is, was, and will be. But Eala going to be seeded for the first time at a 1,000. To find out who she will play in the second round, check out the draw.
After defeating Eala 6-0, 6-2 in that Dubai quarterfinal, Coco Gauff openly complimented Eala for bringing a fresh audience for the sport. Take a moment to consider that a player in the top 5 admits that the opponent she recently defeated. The WTA's commercial reach is being impacted by the opening set 6-0 score, which is different from Gauff's personal outcomes. Hadn't succeeded, Jessica Pegula went on to discuss Eala's abilities in detail. These aren't friend-to-friend compliments, rather, they are market evaluations given to packed stadiums. The WTA's institutional response in post-match press conferences by the sports elite was, the organization announced the first-ever Philippine Women's Open WTA 125 event for. In January 2026, the Eala effect created the first-ever WTA event held in the Philippines in a single calendar year. Here are the results of the Miami upset this year, along with what the mainstream media continues to report. Eala was the most sought-after Filipino female celebrity on Google in 2025. She came in 4th among major international basketball and boxing matches. Were the only sports figures found in the Philippines. Over 170,000 people watched a pre-tournament press conference for the 2026 Australian Open on YouTube. Alexandra Eala greatness highlight reels had 254,000 views, highlights of the tiebreak. 1.2 million people attended the 2025 US Open. Eala has about 850,000 Instagram followers by the beginning of 2026. Despite having a rating that, she is one of the most followed players on the WTA Tour outside of the top 10. Had never made it into the top 30 until February 23, 2026. Eala achieved world number 31 on that day. The top-ranked Filipino in WTA history, but a ticket price isn't the most illuminating fact in this whole tale. Or a viewership figure. A widely shared article from September 2025 stated that Wilson Sporting Goods had. Eala reportedly accepted a $45 million endorsement deal that was offered to her. Fact-checking organizations looked into it. Wilson and Eala's team did not make any statements, nor was there a deal. The narrative was all made up. And it continued to spread because of how the market viewed Eala's endorsement value. Had already beyond what was shown in the signed agreement. Her certified sponsorships are genuine and expanding. Nike for more than 5 years. Eala's photo is currently on display at the company's headquarters in Oregon. Icons of all time. When Eala was 8 years old, Globe Telecom signed her as an ambassador. Jabalat. Local Juice, Bank of the Philippine Islands. That is a respectable and growing portfolio. However, the $45 million scam reveals you can do something that the validated data cannot. The discrepancy between Eala's present accords and what a huge some viewers throughout the world think she has a sufficiently large commercial ceiling. That millions of individuals found a totally fake transaction to be believable. That isn't an issue with false information. That's a hint for valuation. Eala was acquired by Indian Wells in the first round on March 3, 2026, as the 31st seed. Analysts predict she will have a career-best fiscal year in 2026, with prize earnings now standing at $291,992. If she maintains a top 35 standing during the Grand Slam season, she may potentially earn $1 million in prize money. A devaluation of WTA broadcast rights is already anticipated by broadcast rights specialists in the Middle East and the Philippines, particularly based on the viewership figures associated with each of these matches. Additionally, fans have encountered secondary market prices that have completely separated themselves from the sticker shock topic. From official face values has evolved into a defining conflict in each competition she competes in. That Indian Wells, somewhere. Nevertheless, the same analysts who followed the Dubai match are now speculating about a possible repeat with Coco Gauff in the third round. Rise in tickets. This is the issue that no professional tennis player has yet to address. If the Eala effect continues to, at this rate, secondary markets, broadcast revaluations, and institutional WTA reactions will occur on the day Alex Eala makes it to the Grand Slam final?